in 2013, we had to make some changes, and my wife was like, "We need to get counseling." And I don't like counseling. I felt like I was admitting weakness. I felt like I felt like I was admitting a lot of wrong, which is actually a really good thing. But I didn't trust the people that she wanted to go see, because I was like, aren't they, if they cure us, like, what's in it for them? They get paid for us to show up. So we found counsel in our pastor, who is somebody that's both of our best friends and that still works with us. He's actually relocated to California today. But we still keep in touch, and he still helps us along our journey. His name is Roger Patton, and he was great. But we started counseling with Roger, and Roger told me to, Nick, pick a path, go all in on one thing, and get yourself right. Work on yourself. And when he said work on yourself, what he meant was, he was like, work on your faith. All right? I grew up saying, put everybody else, you were told, put everybody else first, put others first, right? Well, that's wrong. Try that on an aircraft when the oxygen masks drop. Okay? If you're not healthy, you can't help people. If you're not physically fit, emotionally fit, and all those things, you can't help people. So when you hear, my buddy Brad Lee, he says you have to love yourself. Well, that sounds like a very selfish statement, doesn't it? I take that as you got to feed your faith, right? For me, my relationship with God, that's my relationship with me. That's me working on me. Okay? So, and when you have that as your foundation, then you're primed and set to be able to go help others, right? So for me, that's the foundation for us. I know that I wouldn't be anywhere without God in my life, and that is how I reinvented myself. And the first thing that I did when I reinvented myself was I changed who I saw in the mirror. So I wanted everybody to look at me different. I'm no longer a baseball player. I'm no longer a club owner, even though I still dress. You guys remember who Kevin Federline is? Well, he wore like a lot of affliction shirts and stuff, and that's what I wore. That's what I looked like back in the day. Yet I wanted people to take me to look at me and take me different. So I gave him a fighting chance to do that. So I changed what I saw in the mirror. And then I started seeking knowledge, which led to confidence, right? The source of your confidence is your knowledge, period. If you're not confident in something, it's because you don't have enough knowledge on it, right? So, and that was very important for me. And through that mentorship with Roger, we started to seek and see improvement. Now, you thought, well, so that was the source of your stuff and everything got great from then. That is correct. 13 was a pretty good year. And then in 14, I thought, all right, I feel like this is stable. I'm going to go do other things. I started an insurance company in 2013. And I was so broke, guys, that when they offered me my agency, it was only $300 to buy my franchise. And that was basically the state licensing fee. That was it, $300. And when they offered it to me, they were like, here's where you sign up. We'll help you enroll. So I had to pull the old, I need to go to the bathroom card, right? Because I didn't have the money. Didn't have $300. Didn't have a credit card with $300 available on it. So when I said I got to go to the bathroom, they said, hey, whoa, are you leaving? And I said, no, I'm going to the bathroom. So I didn't leave, but I walked up to the parking lot and I called my father and I said, Dad, I need $300. He said, for what? And I told him. He gave me his credit card and he said, don't ever come back. He said, that's the last time. That was one of the greatest gifts that he ever gave me, was cutting me off, right? And I had to stand on my own 2 feet afterwards, okay? So I walked back in, started my agency, and we did really, really well first year. And so I immediately thought, I'm ready to start my next company, because look, nobody wakes up and says, when I grow up, I'm going to be in insurance. Right? Matthew didn't. Right? As a matter of fact, Tom Brady famously said, man, I was sitting there in the 4th and 5th round of the draft or whatever, and I think, man, I'm not going to get drafted. God, am I going to end up selling insurance? That's in his documentary. So, but insurance was one of the greatest gifts that God ever put in my life, because everything that I have today was learned through insurance, right? Because of the model of the operation of a great man named Troy McQuaig had put together. That was the source of all the stuff that I needed to know, and gave me enough things to lean on that he created, but gave me enough freedom in what I was doing to learn, and it was kind of like being raised with a good parent. They pushed me to go further. They told me to get back up when I fell. But like when I fell, it wasn't in a situation where I couldn't get back up, right? So it was truly the perfect situation for me. And it's been a perfect situation for about 4,000 or 5,000 other people nationwide as well who've gone off and done some great things, right? So I believe that everybody has that inflection point, and I believe that all change and growth starts at home. Starts at your home, right? You can't fake it there. Okay? So that was where my wife and I started our real journey. So in 2013, people were like, Nick, what books do you read? And I was like, I didn't like reading in school, man. What are you talking about? I don't do books. They're like, well, you're missing out. Some of the greatest minds their playbooks are in books. So they talked me into reading one. It was called Think and Grow Rich. Who here has read that book? You guys like it? Well, in that book, they reference another book that was actually a follow-up to that called The Strangest Secret. And it's like a 45-minute audio book. That was the book that changed my life. In that book, there's an exercise. We call it the $1 Million Month, don't we, Matthew? Matthew's doing it right now. I still do it today. Basically, the point of that exercise was to write 10 of the easiest things that you can do 30 days in a row on an index card. And every day that you fail, you have to rip the card up, write a new card, and start all over on day one. It sounds a lot like Alcoholics Anonymous, doesn't it? So we did, and we're all excited for that first card. We were going to drink like 10 billion gallons of water every day, work out multiple times, sleep for 15 hours. We were all about it, right? And day one went by, and we ripped up a card and wrote another one. Day two went by, we ripped up a card and wrote another one. And we started to realize that, first of all, we don't know how to set real goals. The task itself was 10 of the easiest things that we could do 30 days in a row, not 10 of the most impressive. So that was the first lesson that we learned. Then once we got our goals right, we still couldn't get it done, right? Why? Because the kid got sick. I got sick. Somebody got sick. So then we were like, all right, so we have to even dial this down even more, that this is something that we can do 30 days in a row, even if we're sick in bed, all right? What we figured out was the first thing you should do every day that should be on your card is be grateful that you woke up, right? The last thing you should do every day is look back at your day, be grateful that you got the opportunities that you had, and did you do everything you set out to do? So I already had 2 out of the 10 done before we ever really started, right? It was the 16th time that my wife and I ripped up our cards that we realized that we were the problem. How many of you are the problem? Right? That moment changed our life. So, and it was uncomfortable as hell. Everything you did today has been uncomfortable, hadn't it? Except for maybe lunch. Right? What's the situation like here? Are you guys, is it private showers or is it community?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet? I was wondering what that smell was.
That's why we went down to the water.
That's why you went down to the water. Well, look, uncomfortable is good. And new shoes are also uncomfortable when you first wear them, right? So why do you not put the old shoes back on? They're worn out. They won't get you where you got to go next. They can't serve you anymore. But the new shoes can, but they suck at first, don't they? Right? My son throws the biggest fit over new jeans and new shoes. They're stiff, they're tight, all those things kids say all the time. New shoes are uncomfortable when you first get them. You have to break them in and then they become comfortable. How many other things in your life that are new are uncomfortable at first, but you got to break them in? Right? That's just a part of the journey. And every one of you is wearing shoes, I hope. Right? And they were new at one point in time, so this is not new to you. Yet we take it for granted. That's one of the other biggest things that I've learned from these guys is life's happening to you, but once you figure out that it's happening for you, you start to realize all the great things that are happening for you, and you can apply them to your life. If you're a business owner, what businesses do you like and why? And are you making that a part of your business to serve others? Right? We ask that question a lot to our new business owners when we invest in them is what are your favorite places to shop, eat, and whatever, and why? And are you going to use those values into your projects? Right? Or are you just going to take them for granted like most people do and not use them? And they're literally happening for you every single day, right? motivation is obviously what gets you started. Everybody's motivated on December 31st. New Year, cheers, tink, 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 right? We're going to the gym in the morning, right? We're doing all these things. We're going to make money. Life's going to change this year. And then 365 days goes around and most people are in the exact same spot they were the year prior. How many of the people you went to high school with are doing that right now, right? I hope you're not hanging out with them still, right? Because the people that you hang out with, you came here to be around other people because the people in your life right now ain't getting it done, are they? So when you leave here and you go back to them, what's going to change? And if you go back to them and you stay in the same spot with them, how can you change? The hardest thing you can do when you leave here is apply the knowledge that you got to your everyday life and move forward. That's why you came. That's going to be the hardest part. Nick, what do you think the percentages are? And you seriously, I did a little bit of research. These small groups, love grows best in little houses, right? This is not a small group, but it is compared to some. The conversion rates are higher in these. They're higher in these. What do you see, Nick? He don't know I'm asking this. What's some of the things, like the people that keep coming back that are growing versus the ones that don't? What's the biggest thing that stands out to you on that?
Staying accountable to the container, like actually doing the work and mainly showing up for other people. Because when you start showing up for your brother, like rule number 4, they know it now.
Mm-hmm.
You're forcing like the highest level of accountability on self. So if you wake up every day and say, how can I help Matthew be better today? Well, it forces me to show up as my best self. And oh, by the way, Matthew wins. And it forces you to stay in the container and just put people first. And those are the guys, like I know for a fact the guys that have been with me a year and a half plus have actually had more impact on other people in here, which has then conversely impacted their life. Versus just coming and having that taker energy where you just, what can I get from this group? How can I learn the hack and the code and that guy does marketing? Cool, let me get a marketing.
That's right.
From him. Like, that's not how you operate. So the people that have put everyone else first have been like held to a crazy high standard and then also just won by de facto.
That's exactly right. The first thing I saw when I walked in was these words, the program, right? So if it's a sports program, what does that mean?
It's a structure.
Structure thing, is it like just 2 days and it's over? Is that how it works? No, the program doesn't end when you leave, does it? It's a lifestyle. That's exactly right. So I told you guys before, mindset, skill set, habits. Those are the 3 core ingredients to success of any kind, right? Well, momentum is what gets you started. Your consistency or your habits are what get you to the finish line, okay? So every one of you has momentum right now. The question is it going the wrong way or the right way? Right? Your momentum might be standing still, right? Your momentum might be not finishing what you started or doing what you said you were going to do. Isn't that what the word commitment actually means at the end of the day, just doing what you said you were going to do? Right? You got to be honest with yourself first. And any time that you try something new, there's a video that I've shown Matthew probably 100 times, and it's the emotional cycles of change. And it's what we call the shiny object syndrome. All right, so this is how most of you start, and this is where most of you fall apart when you come to events like this or anything like that, right? So, number 1, it's called uninformed optimism. Hell yeah, a program where we get to go through waterfalls and we get to grow and do all these things? Absolutely. I'm in, right? Leads to step 2, which is uninformed pessimism, right? You get here and you're like, you want me to do what? You want me to go where? Damn, that's hard. I don't know if I want to do that, right? Think about it. If it was a business, heck yeah, I want to start an insurance agency, right, Matthew? Man, the insurance agency creates more millionaires than any other industry on the planet. Hell yeah, I'm going to be one of those millionaires. And then you get in there, you're like, oh crap, this is hard. Oh crap, this is hard. And that leads you to step number 3, which is the valley of despair. And that's where most of you leave, right? It's harder than I thought. Then that's when the next shiny object comes along. Oh, drop shipping company, or social media marketing, or whatever it may be. Man, there's another event where they don't have to lay down in freezing cold water and waterfalls and stuff. Let me do that one. Shiny object syndrome. Now, when you get past step 3, you get to informed optimism, right? That's where most of you are going to be when you leave. I think I can do this, right? I think I can do this. I think I can make it. I think I can be successful at this, right? And then step 5, that's your final destination, that's success. Okay? So as you're going through all your cycles of change, ask yourself, Where in the journey are you? Like, isn't that how your GPS works? If I just typed in Tennessee, would I have gotten here on time today? Why?
Not specific. Too broad.
So the destination or the target, aren't the best shooters the ones who can hit the smallest targets? The difference between a big league pitcher and a little league pitcher, besides velocity and like body size, is who can smith the little league pitcher is just trying to hit the wall. The big league pitcher is trying to hit a spot on the wall. So the greatest at anything are the ones who can hit the smallest targets, right? So that's why, or the smallest goals. That's why you got to have the most precise goals that you can have. So that, because that's the how you can become the best at those. I believe that the two most powerful words in the English language are I am. So every one of us has a subconscious mind, okay? Now, you're not aware of it. It's below consciousness. That's why it's called your subconscious mind. Studies say that 94% of your subconscious mind was programmed within you by your 7th birthday. That's why it's so hard to get out of the projects if you grew up there, right? That's why you see the kid that was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, that's a total fool, always has money. It's all that he knows. One of the most common questions that I ask around the office a lot of times, I'll say, what leg do you put your pants on with first? Do you know? Think about it. But somehow they magically got on. You were on autopilot. You just did it. How much of your life is that way? Unintentional. Right? So what leg do you put your pants on first? Left? Why? I know, but nobody knows why. Right? That's what I'm saying. You like it first. Cool. So, well, what would happen to your day if you put on the right leg first?
I'll let you know tomorrow.
Cool. That's what I'm talking about.
It probably falls over.
That's what I'm talking about. It changed. Like, that's the thing, guys, though, is like your whole life is built of habits. And you have a lot of habits you're not even aware of. Right? So what are they doing? What are they telling yourself and your mind about what you can and can't do? These are just things that you have to ask yourself and be aware of. So the reason I think the two most powerful words are I am is because what you say after that is your truth. So one of the most common questions you'll get asked in your life is, how you doing? It's a very common greeting, right? And most people just be like, good. So that's all you are. You came here to be elite or great though, didn't you? So why are you constantly reaffirming in yourself that you're just good? So, Matthew, how are you doing?
I'm unstoppable.
That's right. What do you think you believe after you've said that 1,000 times? Everything that makes up your being is in the shape of a triangle, all right? So, where did it go? I lost myself on my notes. There you go. What you think leads to the way that you feel. The way that you feel leads to what you do. And then what you do, guess what, goes back to the way that you think. Okay? So at the end of the day, we all have basically 5 choices. I got this from Nick Saban. Okay? And look, we live in Tennessee. Okay? Most people don't like Nick Saban. All right? I think Nick Saban is, regardless of what team he's for, I think he's one of the greatest to ever live at what he does. And when he opens his mouth, I listen because it's usually really good stuff that comes out. So this is what Nick Saban says. Nick Saban says you have 5 choices that you make anytime you do something. You can choose to be bad. You can choose to be average. You can choose to be good. You can choose to be excellent, or you can choose to be elite. Okay? Now, the difference is those that choose to be excellent or elite, there's a special focus, intensity, commitment, drive, passion, all those things to achieve those levels of success and whatever it is that you do. And most people are not willing to make those choices.